Son of a bitch.
Groovy.
Hey everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of Ravenous, the 1999 film that I think has flown under the radar for far too long and needs to be seen by more people because I think it is just brimming with some really fascinating concepts. It's a horror movie, but its ideas are really cool. The characters are very well written and nuanced, and to me it's a very compelling film and a movie that I really wish more people were fans of because they'd seen it. I feel like if it just got out there more, that more people would enjoy this movie. For those of you who are unaware of it, which is probably a decent amount of you, Guy Pearce plays the main character in this movie, and he is a lieutenant during the Mexican-American War. And right off the hop, you're introduced to him in a situation where he is a coward. He gets put in this position where the Mexican army is coming after him and a bunch of his cohorts, and he realizes that he probably isn't going to be able to hold his ground, so he decides that he's going to play dead. And him and a bunch of fellow army people are all put into this wagon, and they're taken off to a Mexican headquarters. And you know, if he had fought, he could have potentially saved the lives of some of his countrymen, but he puts himself first, allowing all of his comrades to be killed. And as he's being taken off to the Mexican army, there's blood that's dripping in his mouth, and you find out that all of a sudden, once they get near the Mexican headquarters, he takes it over. He kills all the people that he was traveling with, and he's the hero of the day. So they give him a promotion, but then they find out the circumstances of how he got into that position and the fact that he was a coward. So they decide they're going to send him off to a military outpost in the middle of nowhere as basically punishment. And yes, he has this rank because they're not going to take it back from him because it was kind of an important moment in the battle, but at the same time he doesn't have their respect. So he goes off to this outpost, and as the movie progresses, you find out that the reason why he was able to defeat the Mexican army in that headquarters is because in this movie, if you consume the flesh or the blood of the recently departed, you basically are given their zest, their soul, their zeal. You're made more powerful by having consumed that, and it only lasts for a certain period of time, but you can become very powerful. And as this movie progresses, the people at this outpost become aware of this, and they decide that they're going to start killing people in order to cannibalize them, in order to become more powerful. And Guy Pearce is the only person at this outpost that is against this, and he basically has to take on this entire group of people. And that's basically the story of the film. I think it was very well told. I thought it was awesome that they introduced Guy Pearce as this coward, because it gives you this flawed protagonist, and that it makes the movie a lot more interesting as it goes along. I mean, you're definitely rooting for him, but you don't see him as this kind of out and out heroic guy. You see him as being much more complicated than that, and I think that really adds a great deal to this movie. But to me, the character that is by far the most compelling is played by Robert Carlyle. He's basically, as the movie progresses, he becomes the leader of the group of people that are killing and consuming these men, and he's just absolutely evil to the bone as the movie goes on. I mean, he's a lot more cartoonish than Guy Pearce's character. He absolutely feels like he is just could be plucked out of a horror story. He relishes this power that he's given. He does not look back whatsoever. Once he's aware of what it'll do for him, he has no moral qualms about killing people in order to take from them what he wants most, and he is absolutely evil. And then as the movie progresses too, as he becomes more and more powerful, he becomes a lot more fearsome and a lot more confident, and he just absolutely, I think he gives the performance of the film. He is a great deal of the reason why this movie progresses, and it's really cool too to see kind of the interplay between the two characters, how at the beginning, they're not enemies, and they're not necessarily comrades or whatever, but you know they're very much on the same side. And then as the movie progresses, as things go further and further, how they come to battle one another, I thought it was very, very well handled. This movie has several really interesting supporting characters. I mean, the guy who is initially in charge of the outpost, he's played by an actor by the name of Neil McDonough. I always have to look it up. I always forget his name. He's a very, very talented guy. He's remarkable for his very vibrant eyes, and he isn't in the movie a whole great deal, but he definitely has an impact on the story as a whole, and he's very memorable. And then you have David Arquette, who also plays a supporting actor in this role. And again, you know, he's not in it as much as either Robert Carlyle or Guy Pearce, but he's one of the more interesting figures in the film. He's a lot more eccentric. He's kind of, yeah, I mean, really the perfect word to describe his character is eccentric. And that's not only after the whole eating of flesh thing starts right off the hop. He's portrayed as being kind of a weirdo, but a likable weirdo, and he's a very interesting character. Then Jeffrey Jones pops up in this movie, an actor who at one time I was a big fan of because he's been in so many great movies, but now, you know, now that I know his personal deeds, his misconduct that has made him have to register as a sex offender, I find him a lot more difficult to enjoy, which actually makes this movie a lot more effective, because as the film progresses, he is not somebody that you are meant to enjoy all that much. So his character is very interesting because he is a lot more nebbish than a lot of the other guys that are part of the side that want to continue to consume people. So to see him kind of this nebbish, nerdish kind of guy be part of that group, I thought was very interesting. And that's the thing about this movie as a whole, I feel, why it succeeds to such a large degree, is that they really do kind of embrace the concept of the film and then kind of extrapolate on it, where they could have gone in a lot more kind of typical manner. You know, the guys that are taking part in this ritual could have been all kind of bully kind of characters, but instead they make them much more interesting and much more nuanced, and the hero could have been much more straightforward, but they give him a lot more character than that. And I think really that whole makes this movie so much more interesting and just a much more fun film. And fun isn't necessarily the first word that you think of in this movie, but it is very, very entertaining. So those are my thoughts on Ravenous. Let me know in the comment section below if you've heard of this movie, if you've seen this movie, if you enjoy this movie, whatever. Other than that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. It makes it much more likely that other people will discover this video exists and come and check it out, which would be absolutely awesome, because I love talking to people about movies. And speaking of which, if you are new here or you just haven't done it yet, please, please, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can find out when I put out a new video. Come and give me your feedback. Aside from all that, though, have yourself a good day.